Hi everyone, we're Gabby,
Karim,
and Jules.
and you're listening to the Making of an Incredible MD podcast by Allied to Health.
last season we took you behind the scenes of some of our mock MMI stations.
So we've talked about the GAMSAT and we've talked about the interview. So now on to the next step. This season we're talking all things getting ready for med school.
We will be running you through what a day in the life of a medical student looks like, what study techniques to know about, what your career is going to look like, and much more.
So stay tuned and get ready to get med ready.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. We have a bit of a different episode for you today. We thought we'd introduce a new perspective of medicine from a student studying medicine in the UK. Issy the Medic is a first year student at Warwick University, and she has a YouTube channel where she is dedicated to documenting her journey into medicine and what a day in the life of her life looks like. She's pretty cool, a really interesting person to talk to who's had quite a journey into med. So I hope you find this episode helpful and interesting. Before we get started, I will just say an acknowledgement of country. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which I am zooming from today. That is the Yorta Yorta land. I would also like to pay my respect to the elders past, present and emerging, as well as pay my respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening today. The land in which I am on today is Aboriginal land and always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you. Enjoy the episode. Hi Issy, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. So do you just want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, I'm Issy. I'm a first year medical student at the University of Warwick in the UK, and I have basically started a YouTube channel around 6 months ago now, just talking about, my journey, and because it took me quite a few tries to get here. It took me 4 tries to get into medicine, so it's been a difficult road. But yeah, I'm finally here and finally at med school and currently enjoying the roller coaster of a journey so far. And I'm really enjoying the challenge and I'm loving the course and I love being on the course. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Perfect. We'd love to delve a little bit more into your path into medicine. But first, what sort of inspired you to want to pursue medicine and become a doctor? With your medical journey and your attempts at getting in, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So in the UK, you have the chance to go from straight into an undergraduate degree of medicine. So we do college, which is like 6. I don't know what it is in Australia. I don't know if it's similar, but 17, 18, you do a 2-year A levels and then you go into university. So basically, I applied for my medicine the first time when I was around 17. So I was in the first year of my A levels. And I basically, long story short, I didn't get in. I didn't get any offers, but I was like hoping that I'd get the grades for medicine. And at the time, you needed 3 A's at least to get into medicine. But I got AAB. And to be honest, those are really good grades. Like those are amazing A-level grades. But it just, for medicine, it just wasn't quite there. And then I just was like, I need to get into medicine. So I just like applied for Exeter, which was medical sciences at Exeter, which was an undergraduate degree that was offering a transfer into the medicine course. So I was like, I'm going to do medical science at Exeter, then I'm going to transfer. So I went there. And then, I didn't get the transfer, long story short. And I was kind of feeling like stuck. I was like, I'm on this degree I don't even want to be on, and I'm stuck here. But I decided to just stay, and I was like, I'm just going to make the most of my opportunities here and just like get into my degree. And I know where I want to be, and I know this degree can be part of me getting there because I wanted to apply for a graduate course. So like just focus and then do extracurriculars. So I started joining societies and stuff. And then at the end of my degree, I applied. I didn't get into graduate courses. I did get into an undergraduate at Exeter, but because it was like sort of semi-internally because I was already there, but because of finances and other personal reasons, I couldn't go to Exeter. So I had to then reapply again after that. So I spent a year working in a mental health hospital.
Mm.
And whilst I was working, I applied for medicine. So let's say the third, like for the fourth time, it was like my fourth application, basically. But my third traditional application, because the other one was traditional. The other one was non-traditional when I applied to Exeter. So yeah, I applied and I actually ended up getting three interviews out of the four places I applied to.
Wow.
And I got a place at Warwick. So it was a bit of a journey. Let's say 5 years altogether, pretty much.
Wow, but you nailed it in the end. You really
I know.
in the gold. And with that journey, it's a very long journey. We have lots of students who listen to our podcast who might be in similar positions to you. What advice can you give them when they're sort of stuck? They've applied before and they've, battling with these rejections. What would you tell them?
So just thinking of what I went through and stuff, the advice, there's a few things I'd say. And one of the first things is it's difficult when you don't get in and when you get rejected. But also, I know this sounds cliche, but in hindsight, I think of it as a redirection. Okay, definitely take some time to feel how you feel. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad, feeling upset, crying. That's all normal. And make sure you fully process how you're feeling. But then after that, look at it as an opportunity to sort of see how you can improve your application for the next time, and then use that year to build yourself, get more experience. Because I don't know how to put this, but everything about you is not just medicine. You're worth way more than the application and applying for medicine. And I think that's one of the things I discovered. Try not to get so consumed by the application. As it's obviously it's harder than it sounds, but you're worth more than the application. And there's so many things about you, and all the experience that you get is building you up and making you even better and making your application even stronger. So think of, okay, I've not gotten in this time, but this is an opportunity for me to find more experience and learn more about medicine. And I think, it's very important that, if you do want to reapply, and I do say that, try again, that you do, use that opportunity to try and build yourself up to get more experience, because it will only make your application stronger. And even if you don't get in another time, that, that experience was, you enjoyed it, you learned from the experiences. I think one of the things I'd say is that when I was, going through all those things, that I was definitely maturing throughout the process. So I'm a strong believer of if you keep on fighting, you'll get it. If you keep on going for it, you'll get it. And sometimes you don't know when you're going to end up somewhere, but life does usually have a funny way of making you end up literally where you need to be. I had no idea that I would be here today. I thought and the thing is, there are going to be times throughout your journey where you're going to think, I don't want to do this anymore. There were times during my degree, I don't want to do medicine anymore. I was I'm not doing medicine. So even when you do think like that, just try and remember, I'm just feeling this way because I didn't get it in the first time. It doesn't mean that I'm not worth medicine. Doesn't mean I'm going to be any less of a doctor. In fact, I feel it does build resilience, and these are qualities that will make you a better doctor. You'll be all the better for it. So try not to worry. That's my advice. I know I've not said everything, but that's pretty much in a nutshell what I believe, and just keep going.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant advice, because when you sort of battle with maybe marks that aren't high enough to get you into medicine, or a couple of rejections, you can just sort of get so down on yourself, and it's hard to not define yourself by those numbers. So I think that's a real reminder.
Being a doctor, most of it isn't to do with the grades or whatever. A lot of it's to do with how you communicate with people, and that's just the fact. When you're sitting with a patient, they're not going to be thinking, oh, this person didn't get the grades A level. They're going to want to speak to you. They want to hear, they want to know what you want to say. They trust you, and they want you to help them. So I think that's the basis of it. You're going to be interacting with people. You're going to be communicating with these patients. You're going to be like making your contact with them really worthwhile. So just because you didn't get the grades at school does not mean that you won't be a good doctor. Everyone learns differently. Everyone has a different way of learning academically. So don't let it put you down. Like, in the grand scheme of things, being a good doctor is a lot to do with your personality.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And those experiences that you end up having because you didn't get into medicine can help shape who you're going to be, but also what type of doctor you're going to be. And I think that happened for you. You mentioned working in a mental health hospital. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so in my gap year, this was last year now. So this was around 2019 till the start of my degree, basically. I worked in a medium secure forensic mental health hospital. I was an occupational therapy support worker. So part of my job was basically supporting the team of occupational therapists and support workers. And we worked together to sort of like, do activities with the patients. So this was sort of like to help them rehabilitate, part of their journeys to help them improve their mental health, give them a sense of purpose, motivate them through these meaningful activities, and also like helping support like these groups such as problem solving. So giving them like these skills to help them in life. It's very, very like it was like, honestly, the experience there was amazing. Like, I learned so much. And the thing is, it really opened my eyes to the effects that mental health can have on someone's well-being, that can have on someone's quality of life. And like, it gave me so many skills, because as a doctor, like, I'm going to be working in situations where anyone could walk through that door, and I need to know how to communicate with them at the end of the day. So a lot of the patients I was working with had different mental health issues, personality disorders, schizophrenia, etc. So like, knowing how to communicate with people, and knowing how to, like, just make an impact, like having a conversation, that's I feel like that's going to really help me, because with medicine, you're not just dealing with physical illness, you're also you might be dealing with a patient that has a severe mental illness, and say if I want to go into psychiatry, I'm going to be working with these people every day. If you're an A&E, anyone can come through that door. So I think it gave me a lot of skills, but it really did teach me like the importance of mental health. It's not that I didn't know it before, but like, just seeing it firsthand, like, really did make me realize what like mental health the impact it can have on someone's life, just functioning daily. Some people can't do that because of their mental health, because their mental health is so poor. So it's just, it's taught me a lot, honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine. Mental health is something that we hold very close to our hearts here at Allied to Health. Part of the work we do is health education in rural Philippines, but we've recently started a program which is all about providing free mental health services to those in rural and disadvantaged areas in the Philippines. And we really see that importance as well. So it's really great to hear from you, having that really hands-on work in another country as well, that impact that you can make. And I totally agree. I think all of those skills, and if it wasn't for getting those rejections, you wouldn't have found those skills, and you might be a different person today. So I think it's really important for our listeners as well. If you're in a similar position, maybe doing a job you didn't plan to do, think about how that can help you in your career in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what you're doing at Halal Health is honestly amazing. Like, especially providing free mental health services. I think it's really, really good. I think that, as a society, sometimes we do, we're very on physical health, which is great. But I think that mental health is just as important. It has an impact on literally everything in your life, like your well-being, being able to concentrate, being able to function. Also, it has an impact on your physical health as well. Like, if your mental health isn't great, how are you supposed to like properly take care of your physical health?
Yeah.
I think, everybody has mental health, everyone. has mental health. So it's like just as everyone has physical health. So I think it's really important that what you're doing is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, we are very passionate about it. And something else we are doing with our podcast this season 3 is all focused around sort of getting ready for med school. Students who have just got their offer or are maybe looking to apply next year, what things that they should know about or what resources they should know about. And something that I like to do is tell them what a day in the life is like. And I was telling you just before we started recording how much I love to watch day in the life videos of medical students. So could you tell us in a few words what a day in the life of your med student life is like?
So, to be honest, in a typical day, how would I put it? Work, lectures, being like, to be honest, I'm like, oh my goodness, will I ever understand this? That does go through my head like 10 times a day, especially when doing anatomy. I'm like, will I ever remember this? So yeah, there are times when you're a medical student where you're thinking, I don't know if I'm ever going to know this. There's so much content. But yeah, my typical day, I get up in the morning. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit of a procrastinator, which is something I'm going to work on. But I procrastinate a little bit, shower, eat, and then a lot of the time we have our case-based learning groups, which is where we have a patient case and we use some of the content that we've learned that day, not that day, but that content that we've have covered that week. So say if we're doing the respiratory system, which is to do with the lungs and stuff, and we'd have a patient case where someone has like a disorder or something, we try and as a group figure out what's going on, and then we use our knowledge and anatomy and cell tissue and biomedicine and all of that, and we sort of try and find a diagnosis. So I find it really interesting really good for consolidating my learning. And then we do this online now because of COVID-19. Of course, most things are online. And then with my anatomy teaching day as well, that's my favorite day. I go into uni and we basically just consolidate our anatomy knowledge and our clinical skills knowledge. So with the anatomy, we look at plastenets, which are sort of how would I describe plastenets? They're
pro sections?
So pro sections, but they've been plastinated.
Right. Yeah.
And then we have a look into the human body and the arteries and things like that. And we sort of use that to consolidate our knowledge of anatomy. And we have the workshops and stuff. And then we have our clinical skills, which basically teaches us how to take examinations. So each day is different, to be honest. But a lot of it is lectures and a lot of it is online at the moment.
Yeah. Something that I think the incoming students this year will be experiencing for a little bit as well. Hopefully not the whole year, but definitely for the beginning of the year, I think. But thank you for that. And anyone who wants to know more about what a day in the life for Issy is like, you can check out her YouTube videos. She's got a few there, as well as some YouTube videos about her GAMSAT journeys that go a bit more in depth than what we have time for today. So definitely check those out. But Issy, where can they get in contact with you and see your videos?
My YouTube channel is Issy the Medic, and my Instagram is Issy the Medic as well. So it's ISI the Medic. And I also have my email as well, which you can contact me by, which is issythemedic@gmail.com if you ever want to send me an email.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll put all of that in the show notes if anyone wants to keep in touch with you. I definitely recommend your YouTube videos. They're great. But thank you for joining us today. It was lovely speaking to you, and you've provided some really helpful information and some good stories as well for our listeners. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Making of an Incredible MD podcast by Allied to Health. Please like, share, and subscribe to help spread the word about our podcast. And we'd love to hear your feedback. So send us an email or message on Facebook. All of our links are in the show notes. Thanks. We'll see you next time.